start with, do you want to just share with people just very briefly about the tedious nature of the diagnosis?
My vertigo kind of started 2.5 years ago. I went through a really long diagnosis process. I think a lot of us have. But it was just, it was hard. The doctors weren't really sure what was going on. They kind of thought maybe it was triple PD, but they weren't sure. But it was just throughout that time, I just really didn't feel like I had anybody to talk to or anybody that had been going through the same thing.
And the interesting thing, so triple PD is persistent postural perceptual dizziness, or 3PD. And it's a condition where we might have an initial onset of ear trauma. And so there's something that physically goes wrong with one of our ears or both of our ears. And the ear will naturally resolve that biological or architectural trauma within 6 weeks. That's a normal process within the ear. However, because the neural signals from the ears that are traveling through the brain and coordinating to the eyes and the rest of the body, they can actually have like a software update that goes missing. So even though the ears may have fixed and there's no longer an ongoing physical trauma that's technically resolved at the physical level, we can still feel lingering dizziness, this persistent postural perceptual dizziness that doesn't end, because it's like the software settings at that brain level. The neural settings are stuck in a dizzy mode. And actually, physical therapy is not really recommended for that. So it's not very effective to do lots of physical exercises as the solution. And that's where the Rocksteady process helps us go, okay, well, what are the mental, emotional, and spiritual pieces missing that are keeping my brain in this dizzy setting? And how can I recreate a new normal? So the physical exercises are wonderful in that initial 6-week period when the ears are learning how to recommunicate back into the brain. And then we have to really shift into the mental, emotional, spiritual daily practice and exercises. And really right up in chapter 1, I think the book talks about the body scan, which takes us into that place of sitting with the body, sensing and feeling, and bringing in some of that really subtle emotional, spiritual self-study and reflective work that is so important to allow the brain to rebuild new neural pathways. I would love to hear how you've explored with the body scan, perhaps, and what you got out of that.
The body scan was huge. When I started doing it, I felt a change. And it was that same day after I did just one body scan, listened to, your podcast and sat in my basement and did the body scan and went to work. And I thought, I feel a little different. I don't know, something clicked, and I'm still practicing it, still learning it, trying to get, used to it and trying new things, but it really did make a difference. So I hope if someone hasn't tried it yet, that they, will definitely try that body scan, because, I was a little skeptical at first, if you haven't done it before, it seems a little weird. It seems a little odd, but it really does help.
And I can also relate to that. And I think if I try and summarize it quickly, essentially, if we're doing exercises to ourselves, but we're not actually feeling what's going on, we're potentially repeating muscle movements. So sure, the muscles might get stronger, but if there's not that mental, emotional connection to what we're sensing and feeling through the brain processing filters, it's kind of like the muscles getting stronger. But if we still feel a disconnection or an anxiety or a fear about whatever it is we're doing, which could be an eyes closed exercise, it could be just sitting in your body with your eyes closed, it could be standing in the body with your eyes closed, it could be walking with your eyes closed. And the reason we close the eyes is because that's what enhances that vestibular inner ear information and gives the brain more of that signal to work on and focus on. And as Becky can explain, being overly reliant on visual information is exhausting and can lead to headaches and all sorts of suboptimal outcomes. So we can't over rely on vision in the long run. So some of those short-term strategies begin to fail us.